Welcome to Ancient Chronicles AI. Here, we cross the line between what is known and what is denied, stepping into the war of titans and angels. Chapter 1. The Shattering of the First Sky. The heavens trembled as a sound older than creation rippled across the firmament, like a crack spreading through glass. Stars flickered and dimmed as if recoiling from an unseen force, awakening in the depths of the cosmic void. Ancient seals forged at the dawn of time began to fracture, releasing a pulse of energy that shook the foundations of the universe. Mountains on distant worlds split open as the slumbering titans stirred beneath layers of stone and forgotten ages. The oceans churned with violent storms as colossal shapes shifted in the abyss, rising toward the surface with purpose. A great shadow passed over the moon, its form too vast and too ancient for mortal eyes to comprehend. The air on Earth grew heavy, as if the planet itself sensed the return of beings who once shaped its continents. Lightning tore across the sky in jagged patterns that resembled ancient runes long erased from human memory. The Titans opened their eyes in the darkness, their gaze filled with the memory of a world that once belonged to them. Their awakening sent tremors through the realms of spirit and matter, shaking the balance that had held for millennia. In the celestial heights, the angels felt the disturbance and turned their faces toward the mortal world with solemn dread. The first sky, once a barrier between realms, cracked open and revealed a swirling void of raw creation. Fragments of starlight rained down like burning tears as the universe braced for the return of its oldest children. The Titans rose from their prisons with thunderous roars that echoed across mountains, deserts, and oceans. Their voices carried the weight of forgotten epics and the promise of a war that had been prophesied since the dawn of time. Humanity looked to the heavens in fear as the constellations shifted into unfamiliar shapes. The world felt smaller beneath the presence of beings whose footsteps could reshape continents. The first sky shattered completely, releasing a blinding wave of light that swept across the earth. In that moment, the ancient balance between titans and angels collapsed, setting the stage for a conflict that would decide the fate of creation. And as the last fragments of the first sky fell, the titans stepped into the world once more. Chapter 2. The Descent of the Seraph Legions. A great silence fell across the heavens as the angels gathered at the edge of the celestial realm. Their wings shimmered with radiant fire that cast long beams of light across the void. The Seraph Legion stood in formation, their armor forged from the essence of stars and the breath of creation. Each angel carried a weapon shaped from pure light, humming with the power to cut through the fabric of reality. The archangel Sariel raised his spear and gazed upon the mortal world with sorrow and resolve. He spoke of the ancient pact that bound the angels to protect creation from the titans who once ruled without mercy. The legions bowed their heads as the prophecy of the great war echoed through their minds. A trumpet sounded, its note resonating through every realm and stirring the hearts of mortals and immortals alike. The angels descended in a cascade of light that split the sky into rivers of gold and silver. Their arrival shook the clouds and sent waves of divine energy rippling across the earth. Humans fell to their knees as luminous figures emerged from the heavens like falling stars. The angels landed upon mountaintops, deserts, and cities, their presence both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Sariel surveyed the world and sensed the rising power of the titans beneath the earth. He knew that the balance of creation hung by a thread and that the coming war would test the very fabric of existence. The angels spread across the world, preparing sanctuaries and fortifying ancient sites of power. Their wings cast shadows that stretched across continents, marking the beginning of a celestial campaign. The Seraph Legions moved with purpose, guided by visions of a future that teetered between salvation and ruin. Sariel whispered a prayer for humanity, knowing they would soon be caught between forces beyond their comprehension. The sky glowed with divine fire as the angels took their positions for the first battle. And as the last of the legions descended, the war between titans and angels truly began. Chapter 3. The awakening of the earthbound colossi. Deep beneath the crust of the earth, the Titans stirred in chambers, carved by their own colossal hands. Their bodies were formed from stone, magma, and the raw essence of the planet itself. One by one they rose from their slumber, shaking off centuries of dust and silence. The Titan known as Gorgoth emerged from a mountain peak, his roar splitting the sky like thunder. In the oceans, the Leviathan Titan rose from the abyss, its massive form creating waves that swallowed entire coastlines. Forests trembled as the verdant colossus awakened, its limbs entwined with roots and ancient vines. The Titans remembered the age before angels, when they shaped mountains and carved rivers with their bare hands. Their hearts burned with the memory of a world they believed had been stolen from them. Gorgoth raised his stone fist and shattered a mountain ridge, sending boulders crashing into the valleys below. The Leviathan coiled through the oceans, stirring whirlpools that dragged ships into the depths. The verdant colossus walked through forests that grew wild and untamed in its presence. The Titans gathered at the ancient meeting ground, known as the Circle of Vi, stone. Their voices rumbled like earthquakes as they spoke of reclaiming the world from the celestial invaders. They vowed to tear down the sanctuaries of the angels and shatter the sky that had imprisoned them. The earth groaned beneath their weight as they marched toward the first battlefield. Humans fled in terror as the ground split open and rivers boiled from the heat of Titan footsteps. The Titans raised their weapons of stone and fire, ready to challenge the angels who had descended from the heavens. Their awakening marked the return of a power that had not walked the earth since the dawn of creation. The world trembled as the Titans prepared for war. And in the distance, the angels watched, knowing the first clash was inevitable. Chapter 4. The Covenant of the Mortal Kings. Across the kingdoms of the world, the rulers gathered in secret to discuss the rising chaos. They met in an ancient hall carved into a mountain, a place untouched by time or war. The kings and queens arrived with heavy hearts, knowing their armies were powerless against Titans and angels. The High King Ahriman stood at the center of the hall and called for unity among all mortal nations. He spoke of the ancient prophecy that foretold a war between celestial and primordial forces. The rulers listened as he described the destruction already spreading across their lands. They realized that humanity would be crushed unless they forged a single alliance. Ahriman proposed a covenant that would bind their kingdoms together in purpose and sacrifice. The rulers hesitated, fearing betrayal and the loss of their sovereignty. But the distant roar of Titans and the blinding light of descending angels reminded them of the stakes. One by one they placed their hands upon the stone of oaths and pledged their loyalty to the covenant. The hall filled with a sense of unity that had not existed since the earliest days of mankind. Ahriman revealed an ancient relic passed down through his bloodline, a map that pointed to a hidden sanctuary of power. He claimed that within the sanctuary lay a weapon forged for mortals to wield against gods. The rulers agreed to send their finest warriors, scholars, and mystics to seek the weapon. They knew that humanity needed a champion capable of standing against both Titans and angels. The covenant was sealed with a ritual that bound their fates together. The rulers left the hall with renewed determination, ready to face the storm that approached. The world shifted as humanity took its first step toward shaping its own destiny. And in the shadows, a prophecy whispered that a mortal champion would soon rise. Chapter 5. The Battle of the Burning Firmament. The sky ignited with fire as the first clash between Titans and angels erupted above the world. Sariel led the seraph legions into the storm, their wings blazing with celestial light. Gorgoth hurled a mountain into the sky, shattering angelic formations with a single strike. The heavens cracked open as angelic spears collided with Titan hammers, forged from the heart of the earth. Lightning spiraled across the clouds, forming patterns that resembled ancient runes of war. The Leviathan Titan rose from the ocean and lashed its tail, sending tidal waves crashing into angelic fortresses. Angels retaliated with beams of pure light that carved through the sea like molten gold. The verdant colossus summoned storms of roots and vines that reached into the sky to ensnare angelic wings. Sariel descended with a roar and cleaved the vines with a single sweep of his radiant blade. The battlefield stretched across the sky, earth, and sea, each realm consumed by the fury of the war. Humans watched in terror as fire rained from the heavens and mountains crumbled beneath Titan footsteps. The angels formed a barrier of light to protect the mortal cities, but the Titans shattered it with relentless force. The sky burned with colors unseen since the dawn of creation. The clash of divine and primordial power tore open rifts that revealed glimpses of other realms. Sariel confronted Gorgith in the heart of the storm, their weapons colliding with a force that shook the world. The shockwave leveled forests and sent waves of energy rippling across continents. The battle raged for hours, neither side gaining ground as the sky burned brighter and brighter. The world trembled beneath the weight of the conflict, unsure which side would prevail. And as the storm reached its peak, a new force stirred in the shadows, watching the battle with growing interest. The war had only just begun. Chapter 6. The Betrayal of the Radiant One. Among the angels there was one whose light shone brighter than all others, a warrior known as Leoriel. He had fought in countless battles and was revered as a paragon of celestial virtue. But as he watched the war unfold, he felt a growing doubt in the justice of the angelic cause. He questioned the ancient laws that bound the angels to oppose the Titans without mercy. Leoriel believed that creation needed renewal, not preservation, and that the Titans offered a path to rebirth. He approached Gorgith in secret and proposed an alliance that would reshape the world. The Titan listened with interest, sensing the power and conviction within the angel's heart. Leoriel revealed that the angels were not as united as they appeared, and that the celestial realm was fracturing under the strain of the war. He offered to open the gates of the heavens to the Titans in exchange for a new order forged from both celestial and primordial power. Gorgith accepted the offer, recognizing the value of an ally who understood the weaknesses of the angels. Leoriel returned to the Seraph legions with a calm expression, hiding the storm within his soul. Sariel sensed a change in him, but could not identify the source of the unease. During the next battle, Leoriel unleashed a blast of celestial fire that struck his own comrades. The angels cried out in shock as their brightest warrior turned against them. Leoriel declared that the old order was broken and that a new age would rise from the ashes of the war. The Titans roared in triumph as they surged forward with renewed strength. Sariel confronted Leoriel with sorrow in his eyes, asking why he had chosen betrayal. Leoriel answered that creation deserved evolution, not stagnation. The battlefield erupted into chaos as angel fought angel and Titan fought with newfound fury. And in the heart of the storm, Leoriel's betrayal changed the course of the war forever. Chapter 7. The Rise of the Mortal Champion in the Hidden Sanctuary Revealed by the Ancient Map. The mortal expedition discovered a chamber carved from crystal and stone. At its center stood a pedestal holding a weapon, unlike any forged by human hands. The blade shimmered with celestial light, yet pulsed with the strength of the earth itself. The scholars recognized it as the Blade of Unity, a relic created from both angelic and Titan essence. Only a mortal could wield it, for only humanity stood between the two ancient forces. Among the expedition was a young warrior named Kale, chosen by prophecy, though unaware of his destiny. When he approached the blade, it resonated with a soft hum that echoed through the chamber. Kale reached out and grasped the hilt, feeling a surge of power flow through his veins. The blade accepted him, binding itself to his spirit with a burst of radiant energy. The scholars bowed in awe, recognizing that the mortal champion had finally risen. Kale felt visions flood his mind, showing the past, present, and possible futures of the war. He saw the Titans marching across continents, and the angels falling from the sky in flames. He saw Leoriel's betrayal and the growing darkness that threatened to consume creation. Kael vowed to stand between the warring forces and restore balance to the world. He trained with the blade, learning to channel both celestial light and primordial strength. The weapon responded to his will, shifting its form to match his intent. Kael emerged from the sanctuary with a new sense of purpose and destiny. The mortal armies rallied behind him, inspired by the presence of the chosen champion. The world felt a shift as humanity stepped into the war with newfound strength. And as Kael raised the blade of unity to the sky, the heavens trembled in recognition. Chapter 8. The final convergence at the world's axis. At the center of the world stood the axis, a colossal pillar of stone and light that connected all realms. Titans marched toward it with thunderous steps, their eyes burning with ancient fury. Angels descended in radiant formations, determined to protect the axis at any cost. Leoriel led the Titan vanguard, his wings darkened by the weight of his betrayal. Sariel confronted him at the base of the axis, their weapons clashing with a force that shook the heavens. Kael arrived with the mortal armies, the blade of unity glowing with both celestial and primordial power. The battlefield erupted into chaos as titans, angels, and mortals clashed in a storm of light and shadow. The axis pulsed with energy, responding to the presence of the three forces that shaped creation. Kael fought his way through the battlefield, cutting down titans and angels who threatened the balance. He reached the axis and felt its power surge through him like a river of fire. Leoriel confronted Kael, declaring that the world must be reborn through destruction. Kael answered that creation deserved harmony, not annihilation. Their blades collided in a burst of light that illuminated the entire battlefield. Sariel joined the fight, standing beside Kael against the corrupted Radiant One. The three warriors clashed at the foot of the axis, their battle echoing across every realm. Kael channeled the full power of the Blade of Unity and struck Leoriel with a final devastating blow. The Radiant One fell, his light fading into the wind like scattered embers. The Titans retreated as their alliance crumbled, and the angels withdrew to the heavens in sorrow. Kael placed the Blade of Unity into the heart of the axis, restoring the balance between realms. And as the world grew quiet once more, humanity stepped into a new age shaped by the courage of a single mortal champion. If you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you never miss what comes next. Until then, stay curious, stay aware, and keep searching the shadows. Take care.